The last few videos that we've put out have been, well, just a little bit self-focused as I obsess over my new camera rig. Today it's time to get back to doing what we do best, and that's helping you guys be the best diver you can be. So we're going to be talking about a skill that you absolutely need to have in your scuba diving toolbox, the debrief. Roll intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. As always, it is so great to see all of your smiling faces. I hope you're all doing really well. If you're new to our channel, make your next dive on our subscribe button and hit that little bell icon so you're notified every time we drop a new video. Because we make content here at Divers Ready with one simple goal in mind, and that's to help make you the best scuba diver you can be. We're back once again with yet another Mouthpiece Monday, where I share my instructor level advice for helping you better your scuba diving. And today we're talking about the debrief. The debrief is an absolutely essential skill that you guys should be using on every dive you do. Now, if you're lucky and you had a decent instructor, that instructor at the very least, at the minimum, used their debrief skill when they were teaching your course, and at the end recapped how the dive went, how the skills you were practicing went, looked at the good, the bad, the ugly, and so on. And if the instructor was really good, hopefully they instilled in you the importance of debriefing all the dives you do. But unfortunately, that's not as often the case as it should be. So I'm going to be talking today about the what, when, who, and most importantly, why of doing a debrief to help you add this skill to your arsenal of scuba diving abilities, for that simple reason, to help make you a better scuba diver. And then at the end of this video, I'll give you an example of how I debrief a dive, and you can either adopt that format or come up with something on your own. But first, let's look at what makes an effective debrief. Everyone watching this should be familiar with what a dive briefing is. That happens before the dive and tells you what the plan for the dive is going to be. The debrief is just the antithesis of that. You're basically going to look at how the dive went in retrospect, highlighting what went well and reinforcing the good, and also looking at what could be improved upon in subsequent dives. A dive debrief should be as habitual as a pre-dive safety check, and in order for them to be effective, it's not about finger pointing and assigning blame. It's about ultimate ownership and owning what went wrong so that you can make the changes and move forward in a positive way. When should the debrief happen? The dive debrief should take place as soon as possible after the dive is concluded, but not before all team members have exited the water safely, all gear has been stowed and secured, and all divers have been made to feel comfortable, whether that's a bathroom break or a drink of water, cool down, warm up, whatever the case may be. Definitely don't leave the debrief too long, and absolutely make sure that you debrief one dive before briefing for the next dive. Don't try and debrief a whole day's worth of diving in the evening while you're having happy hour beers, because you're not going to remember all the good and the bad from each dive. Okay, so who should be involved in a dive debrief? Well, at a minimum, every single member of the dive team. So if that's just you and your buddy, great, that's a pretty simple binary conversation. But everyone should have opportunity to speak, and everybody should be an active listener. If you're diving with a dive professional, master, or a guide, it's okay to let them lead the dive briefing, but make sure you have your turn to speak up and say how you felt the dive went from your perspective. It's also a good opportunity to give that dive guide and dive master some feedback on their performance, which we always appreciate. If they're worth their salt, they need to get feedback on how they did. How was their pacing of the dive? How was their communication? It's good for us to get that information back from you guys. You may also choose to include support staff like the captain or the first mate or any shore support that you've got. And if you're a solo diver, well, then I guess you just go and sit in the corner and talk to yourself. I'm joking. No, but seriously, if you are a solo diver, you can still debrief yourself and go back through it in your head, just maybe don't talk out loud. What are the advantages of doing a dive debrief? Well, they say that experience is the toughest teacher because she gives the test first and the lesson afterwards. Well, the dive debrief is the lesson afterwards. And by not acknowledging things that either went wrong or could be improved upon, that's the ultimate way to make sure that mistakes are repeated. Whereas positively reinforcing good actions, things you did well on a dive, are the best way to turn those good actions into good habits. Also, you want to dig deep and talk about what stressed you out on the dive, so you can come up with a plan to remove stressors from subsequent dives. Were you too cold, too hot, navigation was a nightmare, whatever. Let's work on a plan to remove those stresses in subsequent dives in order for you to better enjoy your diving, which after all is what we're looking for. Of course, that requires a certain amount of humility. To be able to give an effective dive debrief, you have to remove ego from the equation and have ultimate ownership over your performance. Okay, so as promised, how do I do a debrief? Well, if you come to me for training, if I'm your dive guide, your buddy, whatever, this is how I like to debrief. I like to debrief chronologically. So I start at the start of the dive and end my debrief at the end of the dive. So the first question I'm going to ask is, how did your pre-dive safety check go? That's when a dive begins. So sat there, we're fully geared up, we went through our checks. Did you have any findings? Yes, my backup light was on, I noticed it, but I checked the battery and the indicator was still good. So I turned it off, made sure it was stowed, or I noticed that my computer wasn't set to the right gas. I caught that, and then I'm going to make sure that I pay more attention to that in subsequent dives. All right, how did the entry go? We giant strided off the front. Any issues there? No, great. Excellent. How was your descent? Were you able to equalize? Were you descending at a sensible rate? Fantastic. We got down to the bottom. We navigated around the dive site. How were your fundamentals? Buoyancy, trim, breathing, propulsion. How do you feel you did? What do you think needed to be worked on? Did you have the correct weighting? Did your equipment perform flawlessly? Did everything work as expected? Is there anything you need to adjust? Did you have any leaks or bubbles anywhere? How did you handle the conditions, or did the conditions handle you? How was your navigation? How was my communication? How was the orientation to the dive site itself? And then towards the end of the dive, we came back. How was our gas management? Did we end the dive at the right time? Too soon or not soon enough? Could we improve that? How did the ascent go and your safety stop? Any issues with exiting the water? We got the gear secure, and then last but not least, let's calculate our sac rate from the dive. Video up there if you don't know how to do that. So basically, I'm telling the story of the dive from my perspective as it happened, but I'm also asking questions of my buddy to get their thoughts and feelings on what I'm saying and to make sure that they're actively participating. So it's basically that series of questions, which I will put in the description of this video down below. Highlight anything that went wrong that could be improved upon. What's the fix? What's the solution? What can we do better next time? But again, focus on that positive reinforcement. I thought your buoyancy, your trim looked really good down there. You're in a nice flat position, able to hold a nice stable hover, your body was in a good position, and all of your accessories were stowed and tidied away really, really nicely. Ultimately, if you're watching this video, it's because you want to be a better scuba diver. And I firmly believe that if you take the debrief skill and add it to your existing skill set, you will see improvement dive upon dive upon dive and really breed better habits as a scuba diver. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for supporting our channel. We're on our way to 40,000 subscribers before I hit 40. So if you haven't done so already and you want to join the campaign, please by all means make your next dive on that little red subscribe button down there and hit the bell icon so you're notified. Just over here, I'll put some of our back content so you can check that out at your leisure. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name's James. This was your Divers Ready video for this week. Dive safe, dive often.